the basic metabolism and nutrition. And by the end of this lecture, you should be able to explain metabolism.
Doc.
So by the end of this lecture, you should be able to explain metabolism and also define and contrast catabolism and metabolism to really tell the difference between catabolism and anabolism. And the main thing is really to find out what happens when you're building body tissues or when you're breaking them down using metabolism. And then also to be able to describe the roles of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. And some of this information you already know from your biology, but it's good to look at it now from a metabolic point of view. Then the basal metabolic rate, why is it important and what factors affect it? And then we shall talk about malnutrition, and then we shall talk about both undernutrition and obesity. So in Kenya, basically, undernutrition is a common problem. We basically know that it's related with anemia, especially in women between 15 and 49 years. So it may contribute to their low hemoglobin. It also contributes to low birth weight infants. Basically, we say 11.5 infants are usually of low birth weight. And also, in terms of excluding breastfeeding, the target is to make sure that 61.4% of infants, all the infants are exclusively breastfed, but you basically know that only 61.4% of children 0 to 5 years are being breastfed. Stunting is also very common in Kenya. We have about 26.25% of children under 5 being stunted, and so these children are actually lower than the African average of 29.1%. So in terms of other parts of Africa, we have slightly less stunting in Kenya. Wasting is also quite common with about 4.2% of children under 5 years, which is also lower than most parts of Africa, which is about 6.54%. So in actual sense, the problem of undernutrition in Kenya is much less than in other countries, but still there's a lot that needs to be done. On the other side, we also have a problem of overweight children under 5, which is about 4.1%. Obesity is common in adults 18 years and over, about 11.1%, where we have more in women than in men. And basically, you find that there's obesity prevalence is lower than the average regional average, which is about 18.4% in women and 7.8% in men. Diabetes is also getting more common, with it being 6.2% in adults and 5.8% in males. Unhealthy diets is one of the most important contribution to overnutrition or undernutrition, and especially overnutrition. We know that only 5.2% of adults aged between 18 to 69 will consume WHO recommended food servings. That is 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, with fruits consuming about 2.4 days in a week and vegetables consuming about 5 days in a week. So approximately we have about 20%, which we basically would add salt and salty sauce to their food before eating, and those are usually called the salt shakers. So we are saying 1 in every 5 people will add salt to their food before they eat it. And they're basically salt shakers, and that increases the risk of hypertension and other non-communicable diseases. We also consume a lot of food that has been processed, and it basically shows that that increases the risk, which is about 3.7%. And then we also know that quite a large number of individuals, 83.5%, will often add sugar when cooking or preparing their beverages at home. And we know that 28% will always add sugar to beverages. So again, we are looking at sugars, salts, being a problem, and the lack of fruits and vegetable intake also being a problem. There's a proportion of Kenyans who use oil so it's normally higher. The ones who use oil is higher than those who use vegetable fat, and this is based on a study done in 2015. So let us define these terms. Nutrition is really food, vitamins, minerals that are ingested and assimilated in the body. Metabolism is a process by which the food molecules as energy sources and building blocks of our own molecules. Catabolism is when you break down the food molecules, releasing the stored energy, and it normally utilizes oxygen to break it down. Anabolism is when you build food molecules into complex substances. This is a food guide. Basically, you need to have fruits, vegetables, grains, and proteins, and a bit of dairy in terms of proportions. So let us look at the liver. The liver has several metabolic functions, and one of them is to secrete bile, which breaks down large fat globules. It helps maintain normal blood glucose levels. It will also, so the liver is very important store of glucose. Whenever you take food, for example, if you're taking your breakfast this morning, assuming that you did not eat after midnight, you basically have a fasted liver, so it quickly takes up the glucose that the body will take up, will have taken up into in the digestive system through the gut, and stores most of it using the action of insulin. And this we talked about when we discussed about insulin last week, that insulin enhances hepatic glucose output, and also it helps in deposition of glucose, the formation uh,